Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Madmen with a Box live. I'm Pixel, the professor of them, no matter what that says, and that's OZChris.
Nope, you've lost your doctorate, stolen valor. How dare you? It's just Pixel. I will always be Australian, as it says on my birth certificate.
Man, you.
That's why you don't have doctorates anymore, because you were too busy researching Baja Blast. And like, this is incredible scientific research. Stop it.
Well, they're wrong. You know, they're wrong.
You also know what else is wrong? People's tastes in episodes. Because some of them are just bad. Or the worst, or the weakest, okay?
That's right. And that's our topic today. The worst episodes for each Doctor in Doctor.
Yes.
We should be joined by Landry here in just a few, and hopefully Gevain. We did this week have a couple things happen, so let's go ahead and talk about that.
I'm guessing we'll start with ho ho ho.
Wow, how dare you call her that? That's not very nice.
I'm not saying that. It's a Christmas reference.
Just did this on this channel. You know,
it's
she's
a
lovely
Christmas
young woman.
reference. It's a Christmas reference. You simpleton. No one understands my jokes, okay? I had a last week at work, I had a fucking Fire Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe joke, and no one got it. No one laughed. I wanted to quit on the spot. We have a box full of chocolates in our department, and someone went in to get some. That's like, all that's here is Turkish delights. Man, if you were Edmund right now, you'd be fucking selling out your family for that shit. And no one got the reference. People. I'm disgusted with people.
I can't help but always think of that movie when I think about Turkish Delight. And you know what? I don't like Turkish Delight.
I don't like Turkish Delights either. I'll have them, but I won't actively sell out my family for them.
Yeah, we had a new. This is a picture from it, but we had a clip from Joy to the World.
It's funny. I complain. This came out after I complained that we had nothing for this Christmas special, which is out in a month, and then they give us this. Maybe if I complain about the right things, I can manifest them. I just need to know what I need to complain about this time.
Specifically. Okay. We'll think about it. And look, he did show up. It's him. It's Joe of the Corallos.
I am here.
I'm glad. We're still in the news portion, talking about the clip from Joy to the World that came out.
Cool. Or how are we feeling about that?
Well, right now, we have Chris convinced that if he can complain the right way about the right things, he'll get what he wants.
I did. I complained about the lack of anything to do with the Christmas special coming out, and then a day later, this comes out. Am I wrong? But no, I think this was because it was children in need,
right.
wasn't it? Yeah, it was for children in need. And they brought out this clip for Joy to the World. I will say the color grading on it is a bit off. They look a bit shiny, almost plasticky. But other than that, it's a fine clip.
And hello to Landry as well. Welcome to the party. Even though he's muted and hidden himself away.
How long into this? How long into the special before they reveal she's the Ranny, you think?
Let's give him 5 minutes.
Give him five.
What one day it's going to be the Ranny, and
We're just
someone's
not-
going to have guessed it.
He's not going to believe it because we've joked about it this entire time.
That's
Actually-
the thing. They're really trying to get us to like lower our defenses here and just boom.
What if the doctor is the Ranny this time?
Ooh. I mean, that's
I would say that's stupid, but then again, this is the same showrunner that decided to kill a god of death by taking it on a walk. Leash
A
Yeah.
bad walk. Don't drag
Well,
your
it's a
dog
dog.
behind the car. I mean,
Yeah.
my God.
yeah.
You know, no. The answer is it has to be Mel. Mel is actually the Randy now.
I want Mel to be the Ronnie so bad.
It would be,
Fuck it.
wouldn't
Just
it
do
be
it.
full
Just
circle?
do it. And she
Ronnie
could just
showed up
be
in
like,
Surgeon Adventures. She's there.
No, that's a character named Ronnie. That's not.
Oh
Ronnie.
no, that's an. What, are you telling me there's just going to be a coincidence like that? Well, they would think
Yes.
that out, right? They wouldn't make that kind of weird error. It's a professional production.
You're missing. One has "the" as their first name. The other does not.
you having fun there, Pixel? You having a good
I'm
time?
having a great time. This is great. Ah, okay,
Get yourself together.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're professional pixels. Cool it.
We're professional pixels. All right, let's talk about what's coming up. Well, I was going to talk about something else, but now the cover reveal for the 5th edition of Classic Doctors New Monsters is coming.
Yes, so for this box set is the 2nd, the 4th, the 7th, and the 8th Doctors against we have two, I think it's what, 2 stories with the Krillitanes, one with the Lipari, which were from Flux, and one with the Monks, which is like a very, I feel like, considering in one of the releases, like one of the villains was like, or 2 of the villains were like the weird mole things that David Williams played in the God Complex, and the Mox of Balhoon's like brother or something. So it really feels like they're kind of like scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to what new Who monsters can we get the Classic Doctors to face up against. What about those monks? Get them to fight those monks.
Why not a frog on a chair?
I
Why
hope
not
we
a
get
frog
to
in a
hear
chair?
all of them play the recorder.
I like this cover. I really do.
I do like the cover. The cover looks great. I will
Sure.
say, I think they are stuck with that design for the Krillitanes, despite the fact they always mention that they look different depending on what race they conquer, and they take attributes from them. So it's like everything we see of the Krillitanes, they always have to look like how they were introduced in School Reunion. They always have to look like, furless Man-Bat.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the long neck Krillitanes that were mentioned? Give me something different.
I am most excited to see the dog people back.
It would be.
I have no interest in the dog people.
But I know they're all dead now. But I want to know I want to see what the writer who just sat there and is like, oh, finally a new alien that I can go ahead and use. And that's what why didn't they do the freaking blue people with the
But,
petition
so-
themselves?
So Pixel, just to be clear,
Yeah.
you hate survival with the cat people,
Yeah.
but you're into these dog people.
Biased.
Cat people have wars.
More of a dog person.
There's a lot
Biased.
of cat people in Doctor Who. There's not a lot of dog people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Listen, wait, let's go ahead and let's clarify something. I hate survival with the cheetah people, but I'm fine with the cat people when they pop up, like in the second New Earth story. With what is it?
Aren't there cat people in Warrior's Gate too?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, even then those I'm not against. It's the cheetah people.
And it teaches you
You know
great
why?
lessons, like why do you trust him? Because he was running. Things like that. I'm finally getting something done.
Moving along from Pixel being wrong as usual as survival, what else do we have?
One more thing. This Saturday, the 23rd of November, you can watch Boom.
Again? It's not like I
No.
can watch it whenever on Disney Plus.
Oh, but you can. But this time, Stephen Moffat's watching along and tweeting at the same time. Yeah, it's going to be
It
on
is
the official.
this is I'm going to assume that they're only doing this because the next episode of Doctor Who is written by him.
Yeah.
But other than that, 23rd of November, Doctor Who Day, and it's Boom, of all things.
Oh my god!
Like if you ignore the whole, it's because it's Stephen Moffat. Boom for Doctor Who Day. I mean, I like Boom. It's a really good episode. It's not something I would pick to be like, this is what everyone should be watching on Doctor Who Day. Boom. When there are far superior episodes like, I don't know, The King's Demon. Warriors from the Deep. I don't know.
We never. It's a shame we never really got Chameleon working right, huh?
I don't know. Maybe, Series 15, maybe we bring him back and it actually works this time. And we got the Disney budget now, so.
But he still needs to be.
Let's do Chameleon and Frobisher. Fuck it.
Let's do anything.
Frobisher.
Hey.
Black.
Anthony Daniels isn't doing anything for Star Wars. Hey, do you want another robot role? Get him to be Chameleon. Trick him into thinking, don't worry, Chameleon's going to have this really good, like, Shakespearean moment that proves how much of an actor you are.
Cast someone big for the role, and then just have him just constantly in a shape change mode, so it's never the actor they cast.
Just his voice, so that
Just get Daniel Craig to be Chameleon, but he never talks. He's always just transforming and talking as the other person, and we never actually see him.
Get like the most prestigious actor ever to be Chameleon. Like multiple Academy Award winning actor to be Chameleon, and it's just the voice.
It'd be great.
That would be amazing.
That's yeah. So that's our news. There's no other news this week.
No, you don't want to talk about the London Comic Con stuff?
No.
That shit show of an event?
Yes.
What happened?
It was
Oh, you don't know what happened?
horrible.
I don't know what happened.
Okay, we'll talk about it anyway. So London Comic Con had both Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson there to meet fans, and they did not limit like the photo lines, like how many people could get photos and autographs, despite the fact they clearly would know a lot of people would be there to meet them. They are the current Doctor and Companion. This is their first convention. So it was bound to be a lot of trouble. And from what I've heard and from what I've seen, it was. Not everyone got their photo or their autograph. I think there's a clip going around that for Ncuti's afternoon session of photos. It literally was photo, move, photo, move, photo, move. Literally like quick because they wanted to get as much people to get their photos. There was an unfortunate incident where apparently someone touched Millie Gibson inappropriately at the event.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think I was watching Who's There, and Troy was talking about that one of the volunteer staff was saying like when you go to if you're getting your photo with Millie Gibson, make sure your hands are in front of you. So it's like, oh, and he was saying, I wonder what that's about. That seems odd. I wasn't asked beforehand or from any other like person I'm getting a photo with. And then he heard about that, and it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense now. And just a lot of the lines were just like so like super packed. Again, Troy was there with his mother, who I think has I believe he says she has a disability. So, and they were just treated like horrendously at that event. And there's a lot of like emphasis on putting like, you know, the diamond passes, you know, the VIPs, they get in first, yada, yada, yada. But apparently barely any of them got their photos either. So it's just, from what I've heard, just incredibly poor management. They just wanted, they knew they were going to be the two most popular actors at that convention. So they wanted more money. So they did not put a limit. They did not cap it out as like, hey, we can only have this many people getting photographs or autographs with them. Which I find odd. Conventions over there, do they do that?
Where? Over
Like
here.
just any conventions. Let's say San Diego Comic-Con, do they put a limit on like how many people can get a photo?
In America, we don't have to do these things because we're not savages. We have control. in England,
in England, no,
Well,
it doesn't seem because here in Australia for Supernova, they do cap them.
yes, because Australians are wise, like Americans, because your country starts with the letter A or something.
It also depends on like who's running the Comic-Con. One that is like that, they have no excuse. Like they should have prepared for that.
They knew this was going to happen because something very similar happened to Jodie. Like I think her first convention is also London Comic-Con, and it was just terribly managed. So they did not learn their lesson. They're seeing dollar signs in their eyes, and they don't care.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of cons that are like that. I know I went to a horror themed one, and my mom actually got a photo with Bruce Campbell, and they were very quick about it. Like she went in there and they just took a photo and moved her along, but it wasn't like they were being rude to her. But it's a lot of those can be streamlined. The photo ops. It's not, you're not going to spend 5 minutes with that person. You're going to get in, get out.
Yeah.
But that was unacceptable because they were throwing people pretty much push, go, push, go. No.
Yeah, just seeing like the clips of like Shooty's like, I think it was like, yeah, like his afternoon session. It's just like photo out, photo out, photo out. It's just like, it didn't help that he was also doing a play at the same time. So I think he was only there for, like, I think on that day for like a limited amount of time before he had to leave to do like the like prepping and practice for that play. So I don't know, it's just very wild because so far the conventions I've gone like here, like even with, you know, like with Jodie, like that wasn't too crazy. Sure, there was a lot of people, but I felt like they at least managed it properly. They accounted for the fact, like, yeah, she's going to be our most popular guest here. We need to figure out how to manage this properly. And from at least the Gold Coast one, it was fine. It was okay. I heard the Melbourne one was a little bit wild, but that was the first convention, so who knows? But it's unfortunate. It sucks for the actors. It sucks for the fans that, you know, these greedy these greedy business people are doing this, and especially with what happened with Millie, like this, if she doesn't want to go to another convention again, like I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Like this is how you get people to like not want to meet with fans anymore. Like this is why Jenna Coleman doesn't do conventions, because she just had terrible experience with fans.
Fans are terrible. Fans are monsters. And yes, all of them. I mean,
that means you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
You're not here, so you can't defend yourself.
That's right. Jimmy was a fan of Landry.
Fans.
Look what he did. Look what he did to Landry. He was a fan of Landry. Now Landry is stuck here almost every other week.
Yeah, he tricked me. He did one of those genie swaps. Got me here so he could escape. Joe, I don't know how they got you, but run.
Joe's just here willingly. I don't know why.
It is weird.
It's like I'm not getting paid for this. Why am I here?
Yeah, that's true. Thank you again fun. For wanting to hang out and all that. It was fun.
Oh, that was great. That we went to a party. It was amazing. You guys weren't invited.
We weren't.
Yes.
It would have been a bit hard for me to get there, but
you could have been there if you.
I can see why Pixel wasn't invited, but
wow!
Drive up the coast. I mean, it's just like a little trip.
It's just a little. Yeah, I could definitely drive over there.
No, Pixel. I'm talking about him.
Oh, Pixel. Yeah.
If it wasn't,
it's only
so
like
close,
an 18-hour drive for you or whatever.
Yeah, Pixel. It's only 18 hours. That's nothing. That's not.
That really is. That I mean. My family we go to Tennessee every year, so that's a 16-hour drive, pretty much. And we've driven pretty much most of my life up there, at least Christmas time. So yeah.
So no excuse.
Yeah.
Well, money.
We'll do a GoFundMe to get you out here or something.
Yes.
I mean, I was hanging out with. I had at least one Australian friend I was hanging out with at New York. So
there's only one Australian. They just rotate in.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were with Chris. It just wasn't his turn to be at the fore of the personality.
Why do you think you've never seen Chris Hemsworth and Hugh Jackman in the same room? It's because we can only send one of them at a time.
Yeah,
that's true.
But no, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun in New York. That was a good trip.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I don't have a transition for us from that. We're just going to be segueing straight into our topic of the evening. Each doctor's worst episode or story. And
that's cool.
We'll go doctor by doctor. We're starting with the first one. You might know him.
No, I don't.
Oh, his name's
William. I don't. What's Doctor Who?
Well, no, wait, don't we? The first doctor now is, I don't know what's her name.
Is unnamed kid.
We're not ranking the Fugitive Doctor's worst episode or the War Doctor's worst episode.
For all we know, maybe that unnamed kid had a I don't know, like a Boom level episode. Okay.
Yeah.
For all we know, we just haven't seen it yet.
Good enough to be shown on the anniversary of Doctor Who. Yes.
Good to be shown in theaters. Like Deep Breath.
Let's do this. Who's going first?
Yes.
I guess I'll go first. So, first Doctor, I think this is probably going to be unanimous. It's the Web Planet. It is really the worst episode of the first Doctor. It is so bad. It is so baffling. So much that I cannot tell you why it's bad. It just is. It is just a really bad episode. And I want them to bring back the Zarbi.
I want it so badly. I really do.
I want them to do it just for the sake of it. Yeah, the butterfly people, bring them back. Yeah.
Do not change a thing with the Zarbi.
No. They need to still sound as annoying.
But the companions, it should all be like, these are real. This is like, hey, that's prejudice. Don't be like that. Aliens are all very different. But they don't, You do some fun stuff with that. I'm gonna agree. I had written down gunfighters because I couldn't think of anything gunfighters I've never seen and sounded bad because I don't. But yeah, no, you're right.
Gunfighters is bad. Like
It
I
sounds
don't
bad.
want to undersell it. It's bad.
I am changing my opinion though to go with Chris's.
Okay. Joe, do you have?
No, I mean I'm fine going with Web Plant, but Gunfighters is also really bad. I think I'm only not fighting for it harder because it's shorter. The Web Planet is so long. Why is it so long?
It's a classic case of like classic Who being this could have been shorter or just not exist.
Yeah, if that was 4 episodes or 2, I think I'd be closer to okay with it. But
So
holy
I had
shit,
written
is it
down
long.
Gunfighters, but I'm also going to change to the Web Planet because I hate Gunfighters, but I also love it. It's so bad that it's good to me on a level, but it's really
Okay.
bad. It's really
It
bad.
is really bad.
Web Planet's worse. Okay, Chris, top of the list. The Second Doctor.
Second Doctor.
He's Patrick
this-
Troughton, in case you didn't know.
No, okay, thank you. You're just so
Oh, wait.
helpful.
Wait,
Second-
let me
second
lead
Doctor,
this
second
one.
family.
Let me lead this one. I'm ready.
All right, go ahead, Landry.
Lead away.
There is no such thing as a bad Second Doctor episode. The end. We're good. Next.
Okay, Chris, you were originally saying.
I haven't watched. No, the problem is I haven't watched a lot of Second Doctor episodes, but I'd say the one I kind of just didn't really vibe with, I liked the least so far, was Underwater Menace.
Yeah.
I don't really like that episode. The villain has a very good performance. He's memorable. Other than that, it's just not an interesting episode.
It's menacing.
Just
and
the
underwater.
weird few minutes where it's just like, here's just the fish people just doing their thing, and it has a weird soundtrack to it. Okay, it's there.
Okay.
I don't know how to feel about it, but it's there.
Joe.
No, Underwater Menace was the one I was thinking of too. But to clarify, the point being, we are talking about the worst episode of the Second Doctor, not the worst Doctor Who, or we are confining this to just the Second Doctor, because they really are great. I mean, the problem is because you also have a lot of missing episodes.
Yeah.
There's also things where, like, there's some stories where I'm kind of like, boy, I sure wish we could swap out like the Crotons for like half of the other stories he has that are completely missing. Like, I'd swap that for Fury from the Deep in a second, but yeah, I think overall, I think the Underwater Menace is probably a solid choice for one of the weaker entries of his Doctor.
I think I'm going to have to just follow the same course because I was trying to narrow it down, but even though the Crotons is weaker at some points, I just love seeing their
Yeah. No, I agree. Like the Croton, I'm like, God damn it! Why do you exist in your entirety and so many others don't? At least we got Enemy of the World, which that was one of the, out of a lot of the ones that were missing, was one of the most interesting ones. For years that was just not there, and like it was like emotional getting to finally watch that years ago when it was all recovered and released.
Okay. That brings us to our third Doctor of the day. Chris.
Now, third Doctor's worst episode. This was, feel like this was much like with the Second Doctor. It's almost tough to pick like a worst one. There's some mediocre ones,
Yeah.
Granted, but nothing that I could remember to be like, wow, this is just like really bad. So I had to default to one that I found like mediocre and like the weakest that I have seen, and that is Colony in Space. I just really don't like watching that episode. It is too long for its own good, and just the plot is just not interesting. And it's just like, but as soon as the master gets there, it becomes a much better story. The problem is you have to watch 4 episodes until he gets there. Of just this, there's these colonists on a planet and they're doing something. The Time Lords have sent me here for something.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, this is just not good. It's not interesting.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead, Joe.
I'm a little torn. I could go in a few different directions, and I do really enjoy John Pertwee, but yeah, there's a few different ways I could go. I could go Ambassadors of Death. It's just ultimately kind of forgettable and long, but it's so long. But I also love Liz Shaw, so it's hard for me to pick that one. But also, Monster of Peladon is up there for me because I love Curse of Peladon. Curse of Peladon is one of my favorites, and for that to kind of be a follow-up and not hit, you know, when I'm comparing it,
Okay, that's fair.
To that, but
in relative terms, it is a big step down. I still really like it though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I like so much of John Pertwee. There's really none that are like truly awful to me. But I don't know, maybe that's it. Like the Sarah Jane stuff, a lot of it's some of the weaker stuff, other than Time Warrior and God, why am I blanking on the spider one at the end? Planet of the Spiders. But I think those two are really strong. It's like the middle with Sarah Jane kind of like lags.
So what's your verdict then? Is it's
I guess I'll go Monster Peladon, I guess. But again, it's relative. Actually, is it because oh no. You know what it is? I'm sorry.
What?
I'm just like there's a lot of John Pertwee. And there's a lot to say. But the oh god, was it Death to the Daleks? That other Dalek story that sucks?
Oh, it's bad.
That's the Sarah Jane one, I think. Is it? Yeah.
One with the Ogrons?
No, that's Day.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's Day, but there's the other one. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's Death. Yeah, it's Death of the Daleks or Death to the Daleks.
Yeah,
yeah, Death to the Daleks. Yes,
Death to the Daleks. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'm going Death to the Daleks. I hated that one so much that I just like really buried that one. Like that is absolutely for me like up there for sure. It's definitely worse than Monster Peladon and
You know who would disagree with you? Nicholas Briggs.
I bet.
He's the one and only Death to the Daleks fan.
Landry, you look excited. You have an answer, don't you?
Oh yeah, no, I have a list. Planet of the Spiders. I did not like Planet of the Spiders. Green Death, Planet of the Spiders. I mean, and so it's interesting. You call it out. But for me, it meanders. I don't like the whole weird Asian, not Asian guy who's that was Pertwee did a good death scene. I'm going to give him that. Pertwee's performances were good. There were some concepts in there good, but it just meandered. And those spiders, those little, hey, we are,
I love that.
No, I get it.
I mean,
yeah,
I didn't
like,
mention the dinosaur episode where it's like, roar.
Invasion
I
of
mean,
the Dinosaurs is terrible.
there's a lot of bad Pertwee. There's a
Yeah.
lot of. There's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I mean, I have trouble calling it out because I mean, the second Auton episode is. I love the master, but it meanders. A lot of this the Pertwee stuff meanders. And it kind of just for me, the entire Pertwee era is a dip in quality that lasts really until several episodes into the Baker's run. It doesn't pick right up.
Sure.
It has to gear up and get into that Tom Bakerist era that we know. So it's easier for me to name the episodes I like. I don't like a lot of Pertwee, but the two I like are those Peladon episodes.
Yeah, no, those are some of the better ones for sure.
Well, the second one, you're right. You're totally right about the second one. You watch the first one, you're like, oh my God, all of this, and it's a very different kind of Doctor Who episode. And then the second one, you're like, yeah, more of that. Is it though? Is it just?
Yeah.
No, and the most disappointing thing is that first one goes ahead and it takes the Ice Warriors and makes them. Everybody thinks that they're the bad one. They're the bad guys here, but they aren't. And then that second one goes ahead and what does it do? It turns them into the bad guys. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
That's why I have it on my list because I really.
That's fair.
It's just disappointing. Yeah. It's so disappointing. Yep. And disappointment is something that's hard to forgive. But that's what I have. And you know what? I'm going to keep it at Monster Peladon because of that reason.
Yeah.
So fourth Doctor. Anybody want to start or just Chris? You want to go ahead?
Fourth Doctor for me. Now the thing is, I could say Underworld because I've heard of its reputation, but I haven't watched it, so I can't pick it. So I'm kind of torn. There's The Horns of Nimon is not a really good episode. It just really isn't. Correct. And it being the end of a season, it's like you're going, yes, I know they originally planned for Shada to be the end, but it is not the end of the season officially. So it's Horns of Nimon. Like Horns of Nimon is really not good, but it does have a kind of campy villain performance. Again, with Underwater Menace, the performance of the villain is the highlight of that story. But then there's the episode we just did, the Android Invasion. That's just a really just boring story. It's just a boring story with boring villains. It's an interesting concept, but I just feel like they did not execute it well. So I'd say Android Invasion is probably, for me, the worst Fourth Doctor story that I've watched. It's just below mediocre, boring. So at least Horns of Nimon has some a standout performance aside from the Doctor and Romana, but that's it.
Okay, Joe.
I mean, Creature from the Pit sucked. Trying to think, I feel like Invisible Enemy is not great. Revenge of the Cybermen's not great. But I kind of want to go and just say the Key to Time, like that whole season, that whole story arc, it's so long and the payoff is so little. Like it's so much time of your life for like a fairly kind of like overall middling run of stories. Like none of them like separately, none of them would be my worst pick, but all together as one like event, I think together they almost kind of like drag themselves down a little bit, and it just is who is binging the Key to Time? You know, it's like it didn't hit. I think the levels that something like that should hit.
Okay,
I think that what is interesting about Key to Time for me, though, is that were there? I'm trying to think of any show at all that had this contiguous storyline at that point.
Yeah.
Like that was an unknown sort of thing then. That was pretty bonkers when they did that. And we're talking the 70s here. Like, what year is that? Like 76 or something?
Yeah, it's something like
77?
yeah, it's
78.
gotta be around. Okay.
I like that kind in science fiction fantasy anyway. You know, we take it as such a common practice now. In fact, we expect it in we look for the bad wolf sign in every season of
Yeah.
Doctor Who now. Like every season is has an overarching theme and villain and thing. But this was new. And for me on that level, you're not wrong. They're not that exciting. The payoff is not that great. The it didn't really work out, but I do appreciate the swing for the fences of it.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I'm at with it. Execution,
Sure.
It's still not my least favorite era, even of the Tom Baker, because when we get into Tom Baker, it's very hard to talk about single episodes because you have three distinct eras. You've got your, I forget what his name is, but that original run, that the era of the, what's that? I think so.
Era? Yeah.
The run of Tom Baker episodes, it's just horror. It's horror disguised as
Yeah,
science
that's all
fiction.
Time Club stuff. Yeah.
I freaking love. And then you eventually get into the John Nathan Turner era where the scarf gets longer, the suit gets redder, and the question marks get more questiony. And that's where the show really just takes a dive for me. It's very hard for me to find an episode I like in the Nathan Turner era, let alone one that is the worst. But I went with I have two, and they are from different eras. I have Invasion of Time, which it's just I appreciate the concept, but Gallifrey is in general, I think, best left mysterious and powerful. And the Doctor, the constant running through the depths of the TARDIS, which was really just some warehouse back alley, was like, what is this? Oh my god.
And then also in hindsight, the Centaurans invading Gallifrey is so comical.
Yeah.
Like of all the races to invade them, it's like them, the potatoes.
They were established as the other time traveling race, though.
That is true, but
they had their own
it's
time
like
machine.
In hindsight, it's like, yeah, the Time Lords went to war with the Daleks, and it's like, hey, remember when the Centaurans invaded them?
No. So, but I was torn between that and two others. Logopolis, which there are people who love it, but for me, it just meandered. And Warrior's Gate. I was so bored, I fell asleep every time I tried to watch it.
Warrior's Gate's one of my favorites, hands down.
What?
And I can absolutely fight for that one every time. It is so compelling. So
I'll have to give it another shot. I haven't tried to watch it since I was 14.
Incredible.
I was 14 years old last time.
So good.
Last time I tried to watch it, I was 14 years old. So you're saying
we're gonna time to try again?
I need to go watch it from a new perspective.
Have
we reviewed Warrior's Gate yet?
No, we haven't.
Maybe next week we should do Warrior's Gate.
I mean, hey, like anyone's perspectives can change. I finished rewatching Happiness Patrol today. When I first watched it when I was younger, I was like, I don't really like this episode. I don't think it's good. I watched it today. I'm just like, it's still in third place, but it's actually better than I last watched it.
You are such a sucker.
It's not the best. It's not the best Seventh Doctor story, but it's definitely not as bad as Silver Nemesis.
No, it's definitely better than Silver Nemesis, which is fucking awful. So.
Yeah.
My pick for the Fourth Doctor is the Horns of Naimon. Such a bad episode. That's bad.
That's a good choice. That's
the only redeeming thing in that entire episode is that Romana makes a sonic screwdriver that I have a copy of.
I do love that. I love that moment.
Because that's it. That's like, oh, well, I made it. And then what does he do? He uses it and destroys it. Oops. But other than that, Horns of Naimon is just a bad episode. Terrible. horrible. No need to watch it again. I probably will one day. Chris.
Yeah.
Fifth Doctor.
Fifth Doctor. Now, again, I could just go with Warriors of the Deep, but I haven't watched it in a while, so I can't really pick it. I could say Arc of Infinity because it's kind of like, it's not really a particular kind of follow-up to the Three Doctors with having Omega again. And it does just end up being, let's run around Amsterdam because we have footage. I have to say, like, the worst one for me is probably 4 to Doomsday. Again,
Okay.
it's just a boring episode to me.
And it's the first one he did, and it's like that makes sense that it's just in filming order. Like that's awful. Yeah,
it's just a really just boring, like mediocre episode to me. So I'd say that's probably, at least for now, the worst one for me for the Fifth Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe of the Corallos.
I think Ford to Doomsday is a great choice. I think I'm going Time Flight. I really like.
Yeah, I'd say that's also another good choice because you're following up from Earthshock, from a companion death, with Time Flight.
Yeah, it's like you're following up a companion death and a strong return of the Cybermen with. And like, look, I like the Master well enough. I like Anthony Anley's performance, but like, this is the third time the Master's appeared in like barely a year. From it's Logopolis, it's it's Castrovalva if we're counting Keeper of Traken, and it's like, and it's the weakest of all of those stories. The disguise, like the awful bit, like it's like, what are you even fucking doing with like the weird fake version of the Master before that? I'm blanking on like the character's name, but like that was awful. Having Tegan leave again, sort of like the way she did after you already killed off Adric, like it just felt like it was a weird way to end the season. It was ending it on like, it's like you should have ended it on Earthshock. But yeah, I just think that there's so many issues I have with Time Flight. But Fort of Doomsday and Arc of Infinity, I think, are also great choices.
So, my number one gut instinct. Now, again, John Nathan Turner era. I'm very hard pressed to find any episodes I like in the Fifth Doctor era, and I love the Fifth Doctor. I always did, but I never felt any of his episodes were particularly good. There's obviously that we're looking for the worst. The one that I had a couple that called out to me, but in the end, I settled on Earthshock. I loathed Earthshock when it came out, and every time I've tried to go back, I found that the battle in the tunnels and some guest star actress that was on it, and I don't know, everything about it just turgid. And Adric, the most, like, all I knew was like, yay, he's dead. There was nothing else other than that. Like, there was just, and I wasn't alone on that. I'm going to tell you, watching that one real time. At this point, I'm watching Doctor Who real time, right? The episode aired. Everyone cheered. There was rejoicing. We, as a people, we started healing. Adric was gone, and we knew that there was a brighter day ahead of us.
That alone makes it a 10.
What's that?
Makes it great.
So, Earthshock, I think there's worse episodes, but that's the one that really stood out to me. But again, I do not like most of the Fifth Doctor episodes.
I actually had the opposite problem. Not that I particularly like any of the episodes, but the Fifth Doctor's era is largely, even with Chameleon existing, largely unoffensive to me. And I only realized that when I was going through the list and I was trying to find what episode am I gonna put this way. I don't hate any of these. But Time Flight, I'm going to pretty much agree. I'm going to go put that. The only thing I recall, and I believe that it is Fifth Doctor that has this. When I was watching the Twitch Doctor Who marathon, they would have the in-between clips. I always remember Heathrow, Doctor. Heathrow. But other than that, no, nothing. But actually, I think that was the Third Doctor. Anyway, Time Flight, which takes us to only one actually correct answer, but Chris, Sixth Doctor, what's the worst episode?
Twin Dilemma.
Yeah,
It is one of the worst debut episodes for a Doctor.
You didn't like seeing the Doctor strangle his companion?
No, I don't know how I would have felt if I was there watching it for the first time to see a Doctor try and kill a companion. Now I get knowing all the behind the scenes stuff and what they wanted for this Doctor. I know what they were going for. They just did not execute it well, and it doesn't help that script editor was also changing stuff because he was unhappy that he did not get a say in choosing the Doctor. But yeah, other than that, it's just not a good episode. The acting on the twins is bad. It's really bad. Colin has some very minor moments that he stands out, but other than that, it's just not a good debut for him. Off the bat, not a good start.
I like I said, I was watching the stuff real time at the time, and what I can tell you is this was the episode that made me stop watching Doctor Who until halfway through Tennant's era. I didn't. This was it. This was the episode. Now, I mean, I was also, I think, hitting 16 and had other things on my mind and whatnot, But yeah, I don't know that it is. I think actually what I probably dislike more is that second Doctor crossover episode. But this episode was Twin Dilemma was so bad I couldn't finish it. So I don't even know. It killed Doctor Who for me for a long time.
Yeah, following up from Caves of Androzani and this being the finale of the season.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's
Caves of Androzani was good.
It's I know they wanted to try something. Again, they wanted to try something different. They just didn't do it well.
Yeah, agreed.
Joe, do you have a different answer for us today?
I mean, there are
other bad episodes.
Oh yeah, no, there's more bad episodes. I think Time Lash is up there for me. That's pretty high. It's a really shitty episode. It's and I love the God. What's his name? Was it Paul Darrow, the Blake Seven guy in it?
Yeah.
And he's great. But I mean, the fact that the title of the story is an anagram for lame shit is really, it's you gotta mention that with that story. It's God,
that's an anagram.
Yeah.
See, Russell, that's an anagram.
That's but no. Luckily, there's a handful of things that I think you could pick for this, but yeah, I'll go with Time Lash.
All right, now that takes us to the Seventh Doctor.
Before that, it's funny you mentioned Time Lash. I can't remember what the conversation I had with a with a work colleague, but I randomly mentioned like Borat, and they thought I said Borad, and showed me a picture of the Borad from Thailand. She's like, "You think I'm this?" I'm like, "I did not say the Borad, and you're not a Doctor Who fan, so I don't know how you could search that."
That's impressive.
I would never say the Borad ever.
Never.
I would never.
It like threw me off guard because I'm like, she's younger than me. She definitely does not watch Doctor Who. And I'm like, she just shows me a picture of the Borat. I'm like, whoa, this is such a surprise.
No, what's that?
Okay, but Seventh Doctor. I could just do a double whammy and just say Time the Rani, another debut episode. It's not good, but I'm gonna have to go with Silver Nemesis. I think it's probably one of the worst Cybermen stories.
Yeah.
I think it's too long for its own good. To the fact that I think there's a shortened edition. I think the recent collection actually gives a shorter version of this, which is only about 75 minutes. Which I'm like, okay, if you have to release a shorter version as well, like it doesn't look good for you. But no, whenever I think of like a bad Seventh Doctor story that isn't Time in the Rani, I always default to Silver Nemesis. I just never liked that story. So anytime I ever rewatched season 25, I always kind of had to dread, like, oh no, we have to. The penultimate story, Silver Nemesis. So yeah, I'm going Silver Nemesis.
Yeah.
Joe.
I think I might actually have to agree because Time in the Rani is like so bad. It's like so over the top. The Rani dressed as Mel is so fucking funny. It's so funny every time. And not that I've watched it a lot, but every time I have.
I think the fact that it works. The fact that it works briefly makes it even better.
Yeah, it's so I lose it. I lose it watching it by myself. And nothing about Silver Nemesis evokes anything resembling an emotion from me. I turn into a Cyberman watching Silver Nemesis. I'm just dead inside. So I feel like I'd have to go with Silver Nemesis.
Landry.
Happiness Patrol. Oh, I hate Happiness Patrol.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it. I was excited to watch it. I'm like, oh my god, this looks amazing. I saw the villain. I'm like, yeah, I'm watching this. Sat down with my brother-in-law, who's also a Doctor Who fan. We made it this like Christmas family thing. We're all going to watch this great looking Doctor Who episode. I don't think anyone in that family is ever going to trust us again. We lost a lot of family members that day. Yeah,
You didn't die.
Oh no, we're just dead to them. It's really bad. But here's the thing, John Nathan Turner era. It's mostly terrible. There's a lot of bad stuff in there. There's some gems. There's some episodes that are very good. Every now and again, accidentally, they'd make something really, really good. And they succeeded very well with Happiness Patrol in not doing that. As was the mission statement at the time to murder Doctor Who. They murdered Doctor Who a little bit that day.
No, I had to go Time in the Rani. Listen, it also makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. It's hilarious, but the episode freaking sucks. I hated it.
Yes,
miserable.
It's very bad.
It's a very bad episode. That is hilarious, but it's not enough to save it. So yeah, that brings us to the Eighth Doctor. Well, let's talk about his best and worst episode. It is both these things. It is everything.
Wait, can we count his mini episode? His regeneration into the War Doctor. It's an episode of an 8.
Okay, but that would be his best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we know.
Yes.
Yeah, easily.
Okay, talk about the word.
I don't hate the movie.
Yeah.
It's okay.
That's the thing.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
hate
think
the
you-
movie. It's not perfect.
No.
It's all right.
It's not the best Doctor Who episode of all time, but it's just in that middle ground.
It's a very much a product of its time, and at its time felt very much like a modernization of the Doctor, of Doctor Who. It was it succeeded in that regard, and you know, I was all right with it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Other than the Doctor being half human, which I think we all
God,
We all,
fucking
on his mother's
hated,
side.
and they
we're all fighting that to the death.
Yeah.
So, and that
but
brings us finally to modern Who, to the 9th Doctor, and we're gonna have to start with you, Chris.
I feel like this could be another one where it's just unanimous. The long game. I think like overall, like there's like with 9th Doctor, there's really good episodes. There's okay episodes. The long game I never liked. I just never liked that episode. It's the one and only episode of like Adam being the companion, and he is not a great third wheel.
No.
To the point where it's just like, I think then the next episode they introduce the better third wheel of Captain Jack. Oh, no, 2 episodes later, because the next episode is Father's Day. That's right, yeah. 2 episodes later, they introduce Captain Jack. But the long game, I just... The what is the Jagrafess? Whatever it is. It's not an interesting villain. It's just not a very interesting episode. And it just felt like they wanted to slightly... Not even really... They wanted to potentially throw the spanner, but they didn't commit to it by doing like, we have a second companion. They're a trio now, okay? But they didn't want to do anything with it, so he leaves at the end of the episode. Well, he gets kicked out at the end of the episode. So no, yeah, sure, like the Slovene are farting aliens, but I do like those episodes, not because they are farting aliens, but
Are you sure? Now I'm not
I
convinced.
appreciate the clarification.
yeah, but like those stories are at least enjoyable compared to the long game. I don't enjoy watching the long game.
That's, you know what? That's fair. Joe? Oh, Landry has something to say, though.
I really liked the long game. I did. I really liked it. I liked how Adam was served as an example of what the Doctor won't tolerate. And then, of course, Rose does her own version of it right after. Like, he was there just so we would have weight in Father's Day for her own selfish behavior when she engages in her own form of it. I just in general, yeah, I liked it. What I did not like was the farting aliens. I did not like. And then 2 episodes of it, I was so bored. I'm like, oh, please just move on with it. So that was my 9th Doctor one.
Okay. Joe?
Nice. It's tough because I mean overall I enjoyed the season, but those are both excellent points because I too hate farting aliens, but the long game also didn't really do it for me. So maybe I'll just like hedge a bit here and go Father's Day because like it's all right.
Chris, we need to ally now against this. Everything we agree on is in the past.
I don't like any of these. Father's Day is just honestly watching Rose. I realized why I disliked Rose for the longest time. This episode, and I understand the motivation. I understand all that. I'm not saying anything that she didn't feel true to her or that she was written wrong. I didn't like it. So I didn't care for Father's Day, but I actually do have to agree. It is long game. I am so happy. So very happy. I thought everybody was going to say Unquiet Dead. And I was like, I'm going to be the only one.
No, I like Unquiet Dead.
Unquiet Dead, okay.
Unquiet,
Okay,
it's
you have to
fine.
understand. I'm used to Jimmy level, even though he's never here. I'm used to Jimmy level treatment of Mark Gatiss, man.
Jimmy would say Unquiet Dead because of Mark Gatiss.
That is the only reason.
Even though it's like the most, it's one of the. I would say it's probably one of the better Gatiss episodes, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah,
like it's okay, it's fine.
It's fine. It's not great.
Yeah,
it didn't hurt.
No, and you know what? The first Doctor Who's back. That's the first historical we have back. So yeah, that's what I've got. I got long game as well. That takes us to 10. This could get a little
tough.
This gets tricky. There's a lot of
them. That's the reason. That's right.
That's the reason. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Not because of what we're going to be saying. Go ahead.
For me, it has to be Fear Her. I never really liked that episode.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't tell you why. I just never like it. Series 2 is not. I would say it's not David's strongest series, but it's the one I like the most.
Okay.
And I just never liked rewatching Fear Her.
Yeah.
Now, some people would say Idiot's Lantern, and I would say I don't think it's that bad. It's another okay Mark Gatiss episode.
All I can say,
I would say it's much better than Fear Her.
All I can say in defense of that episode really is that whole scene where the Doctor says, "You wouldn't expect the Queen to clean her own household, would you?" to deal with.
An Idiot's Lantern.
Father, yeah, that's.
Although I will say the end of it where it's just like, you should still be in contact with your dad, even because he's your dad. You know, forget the whole thing that he's very abusive to the family, like verbally and very much implied physically. Go after him. Why? He's still your dad. It's like, no. I think there's a bit more to this, Rose. Yeah. This isn't similar to your situation where your dad died when you were incredibly young. Like, this isn't similar.
I did not like Idiot's Lantern. I think it's really bad, but Fear Her is really, really bad. So
yeah,
I Fear Her. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have to go with Fear Her. It's like I rewatched it earlier this year, just thinking like, is it still that? And yes, it is.
Thank God you can't watch it on iPlayer anymore.
That's kindness.
It's not like it's a missing episode. It's because just one minor guest appearance is has some controversy recently, I'll say. Yeah. So they got rid of the episode, which I'm like, you could just dub over it or get rid of it.
Now I got to look it up.
Well, I guess that sells for me because honestly, I can barely remember. All I remember is that one guy, "I'm reporting you to the council." That's all I got.
You just took a council axe from a council van, and now you're digging up a council road. I'm reporting you to the council. The only memorable thing from that episode, aside from the whole Doctor doing the Olympic torch thing, other than that, yeah, it's a very just not good episode.
Okay, then yeah, I'll join that chorus. Fear Her. That takes us to 11.
For me, this was because this 11 has a lot of just not good episodes either. Yeah. Just a lot. And it seems to be like there is always at least one in every one of his series where it's like, yeah, this isn't good. But I would have to pick The Power of Three. I cannot stand that episode. It is so boring to me. I don't know why. Whenever we have this conversation and Jimmy is here, and we always talk about, oh no, Chibnall isn't always bad. He has some good episodes. He always, aside from 42, he always picks Power of Three, and I just don't see it. It's not an interesting story. It's also not in a very good series. Series 7 is Matt's like weakest season for me.
But it's yes. Power 3 was my list too.
Especially with the halving of the series, it just didn't work, and it's like, yeah, they're just dragging out the whole Amy and Rory thing, and this was like the worst of it. It's just like they're just there on Earth because cubes, and the villain is so
strong.
I like the whole mystery starting it. It's just the resolution and like what it is. I just don't. Oh, this thing, the villain wasn't even real. It was a hologram.
Joe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going with this, but also, like you were saying, there were, it's like I like Matt Smith as a doctor, but like, after series, but like I think series 5 is really solid, and like it really goes downhill pretty fast overall, and I think that's probably a fine example of one of the least tolerable points in his tenure.
Okay. Actually, I am a little bit surprised. I can't believe the Power 3. Yeah, no, it does have everything you're saying, but actually thinking, because I was looking through the list and I have a lot harder time because I love pretty much most of these episodes, even the ones that are hated. But
sure,
I chose Nightmare in Silver. Nightmare in Silver. With the
that's bad too, to be clear.
Yeah.
Oh, that is also Cybermen at their worst.
Yeah, but that's
they're now overpowered.
And they are overpowered to a ridiculous point without earning any of it, and it's I like the human characters, the side story, that's fine and all, but the episode itself executes it in such a way that you're just.
Oh, I don't like the human characters are also one of the worst things in that episode.
I like
the whole thing with the kids. No,
not the kids. No, the kids are annoying, but they're kids. I'm talking about the crap. What's his name?
Warwick Davis's character.
Thank you. Yes, I like his character.
He's fine.
It's fine. So, but yeah, Nightmare in Silver is the one I'm going to stick with it because Power 3 does have the defense of that time with the Doctor and Amy and Rory, and those scenes are
good,
strong. They are, and they're really their good. Relationship. That's the key of the episode. So, I can't believe I've defended a Chibnall episode here right now, but that's one I have to.
This isn't really that strong of a defense. You're basically saying I think it's maybe the second worst.
It's not as bad as.
Hey, any defense is a kind of a bad defense. But yeah, that takes us through 11. Let's get to 12.
Oh, this was easy. This was easy for me.
Do not.
In the Forest of the Night.
Okay.
That is a legitimately bad episode.
It's not good.
it is not good. The whole like, actually the trees are saving us from a solar flare. Like, okay, and then just randomly there's this random subplot of like this little girl's sister gone missing, and then the trees bring her back for like out of nowhere. So what's the implication? Did the trees take her for some reason? Did the trees randomly find her and be like, you helped us, you're the only one who listened to us, so here's your sister back? Did they bring the sister back from the dead? I don't know, because the episode doesn't even talk about it, because it's such a nothing subplot. It's a really bad episode.
But it's not Sleep No More, which is so bad.
You're not being serious right now, are you?
Do you want me to show you it written down on my list?
Jimmy, no! Sorry, I'm just used to that.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I agree. There's a lot of episodes of the 12th Doctor, and he's my favorite Doctor. But there are several episodes that are not very good. And Chris is not wrong about the trees. It's really bad. But for me, Sleep No More is just unwatchable. I knew you were going to feel that way. I did. I feel bad about that.
Now we joke about Sleep No More. It is a bad episode.
No, I do not agree.
I give it credit for at least trying something. Granted, it was during a time where the whole like found footage thing was like really being overused. I will give them credit for trying something different, but it's not a good episode.
It was at the
it is a guilty pleasure bad episode. I'll give it that, but it's not a good episode.
It's not a bad episode. I'm gonna plant my feet in the ground now. That is not a bad episode.
As the number one Sleep No More defender, it is a bad episode.
That's me. I'm the number one Sleep No More defender. You're trashing it. Anyway.
Joe?
Yeah, I don't know. I was stuck, but I think you won me over on in the Forest of the Night. I forgot how bad that was, and you reminded me how bad that episode was.
But what's your take on Sleep No More?
I mean, it's not good.
Poor Pixel.
Hey, at least he's not trashing it as much as number one defender over here.
Capaldi had a real 50-50 with that season because it was his first one. Because
I didn't even like his first episode.
Other bad episodes include Robot of Sherwood, The Caretaker, Kill the Moon.
I loved Kill the Moon.
I like the concept of Kill the Moon. I don't like the ending though.
I actually just like I had Kill the Moon on here mostly because I remember being dissatisfied with a lot of it, but that scene where Clara really grills the doctor at the end there for leaving her, but he's partially right. So it's a complicated episode, and that I like. So I had to take it off. In the Forest of the Night eventually won me over. I cannot believe you said Sleep No More. Banned. No. Very upset though.
All right.
That takes us to 13. So.
All right, 13th Doctor. Now, thinking about it, I could pick Arachnids in the UK because it's dumb.
You could.
And it has the weird moral dilemma of just like, the Doctor's gonna kill the spiders by starving them of oxygen. Oh, but you shooting that's where we draw the line. Okay? That's inhumane.
That's 13 constantly, though.
Yeah.
Constantly. Hypocrisy.
Then you have like Battle of whatever, that her first finale, which is one of the worst finales. It's not good. But I would have to say worst episode for me would have to be Legend of the Sea Devils. Because it is really bad. There is very clearly scenes missing from the episode. Like in the first 5 minutes, it's just like they're here, and then they've suddenly captured the Sea Devil, and it's just like they didn't know this was going to happen. There is definitely a scene missing here. The giant sea creature just disappears from the rest of the episode after it like eats the TARDIS and takes it to the Sea Devil base. It's just gone. The resolution of the Dr. Yaz like romance is just like, because they had to give some kind of resolution despite the fact they didn't properly build it up. So a very lackluster resolution, I guess. But it's just a really bad episode. Granted, yes, the updated Sea Devil designs look good aside from some wonky CGI that's used on them. But after that, it's a really bad episode.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good there's what an embarrassment of riches discussing the worst of Jodie Whittaker's role. But I'm also I genuinely enjoy the Sea Devils. I like the John Pertwee story. I'm a defender of Warriors of the Deep, and this is that fucking sucked. So I mean, as someone who loves those kind of stories and how awful it was, and I believe it was also one of the lowest points, like ratings wise, for
I think it was, yeah.
Jodie. Like it might have been
at that point.
Yeah, it might have been the single most least watched, and if it wasn't the single most, it was the second most. Like it is really low on the list. So I appreciate that history also has my back here. So facts. You always like your opinions to be backed up by facts.
Landry.
But yeah.
No, you go first.
Uh-oh.
I really, really, really wish I could go ahead and just fully agree, because that is a bad episode. But I had that. I had Arachnids in the UK I could have chosen. I had Rosa. That whole ending is one of the worst things that I've had to sit through. That's what you have. Yeah. But I had to go. I had to go to Orphan 55. Honestly, I cannot. I remember watching that episode, and listen, I can go ahead and you can have episodes that are supposed to be about taking care of the earth. That's fine. That absolutely. But it handles it in the worst way. You have the doctor telling you, oh, these creatures are actually you. This is another fate for Earth. Another one. It's just really offensive in a lot of areas. It's stabbing me in multiple different ways. So Orphan 55, I still have to go with. That's the one that's hitting me, and I'm like, I can't forgive it.
It doesn't help. It's the first of 2 episodes that do with the whole, like, we need to save the planet because we're polluting it. It's bad, because then you had Praxeus, which had the whole, like, microplastics thing. This alien race is here because of it. The microplastics that's in all your bodies or something like that. It's just like, why'd you have to do this twice in one series?
Yeah, I appreciate the sort of throwback feel to like a bunch of stories that I feel you used to get in the classic era, but no.
Yeah. And you want to go ahead and dig into Rosa Landry?
The ending, like you said, I'm glad you said that, because to me, this is when I stopped watching Doctor Who a second time. And I didn't come back until we were doing, because I don't think I was on the podcast yet. And we weren't doing, were we doing it yet then?
Were you here for Flux?
I think we were for Flux. I came in for that, and that's when I started watching her stuff again. was so I could do the podcast. But Rosa not wanting to get on. She's like, oh, I don't need to get on the bus. I'll catch the next one. I'm going busy doing this work. And the doctor's like, oh, but you really have to get on this bus. No, it's fine. I'll just. That was egregious. Like, that was super freaking offensive. That was so bad. That was a quit watching the show moment for a long time. That's how bad I thought that was. There's nothing on this list to me. Like, okay, we can talk about what is the narrative didn't work, or we didn't find it entertaining, or the story meandered, or the performances were bad. But this was just an abomination in terms of an actual significant historical event that was absolutely hijacked and given to the superpowered white woman. What the hell? So, yeah.
It's really horrible. It is really horrible.
Really bad. Really bad.
We do have to eventually watch it again for as Gevain wants us to go ahead and give it another shot, because I'm pretty sure he does like it. So
he's mentioned that before, and I want to see why. Okay, yeah. I'll do it for him. Sure.
But now we have to go to the 14th Doctor. He has 3 episodes. This should be pretty easy. Chris.
Yeah. While I would say it's not the worst episode, it's more kind of the weakest. My pick was the Star Beast. Very obvious pacing issues with the episode. Introduction of the new Sonic that does a lot of things that we don't see again. So it kind of felt pointless to have this new Sonic screwdriver. I know, I see you smiling, Pixel, because you have 20 million versions of that Sonic screwdriver.
Listen, but it's fun, okay? It's fun.
But it's really pointless when you can have the Sonic screwdriver that can create hard light shields, and then it's not brought up again. It can do all these things, and it's only ever used in that one episode. While, reintroduction of Donna is great and all, the whole bringing back of the meta crisis as the main plot point to resolve the issue with Beep the Meep makes the 10th Doctor look worse in retrospect, because now you are saying that when he erased her memories, or tried to erase her memories, also put in the safeguard, he put in a Winter Soldier-esque activation code just in case he needed the Dr. Donna for some reason, despite saying numerous times it would kill her.
I didn't take it as that. I took it as he would realize certain phrases would wake her up, but okay.
I just kind of assumed like he tied a knot and he knew he just went through the process of untying it. Like, that was like my take on it. I didn't think it so much as he built it, so much as he reversed that was a reversal. But I see your point.
Yeah. Then that ties into the whole like resolution of the meta crisis. We just let it go. We just let it go. That's how it's resolved. We let it go. And it felt like Russell accidentally backed himself into a corner. And he just didn't know, how do I get rid of something that I created? Like, how do I get rid of this? Oh, they just let it go. Despite the fact that we could see in there are ways that could have been used as different explanations to how now the meta crisis won't kill Donna, because, it's been passed down to a descendant. So let's just say the power of it is now halved. The mind of a Time Lord can't kill a single person because now it's split.
I mean, that's kind of what they did say.
That they said it is split, so she's still.
But the whole
just
disappearing at the end. It's like, we just let it go.
I took the two of them together, that they were holding hands.
Yeah, that's what they were going with. But then the end resolution to like fully cap it off, I'm not a big fan of. And the whole again, Russell does care about these issues, but how he handles them is not done well. Like, you wouldn't understand Doctor because you're a male presenting Time Lord. It's like, he was just a woman an hour ago, And in this episode even says he doesn't really identify with like gender norms or gender specific. So to then turn around and be like, you don't understand because you're a guy now. It's like, I don't know what you're going with, Russell. These are important issues for you. I get that. And the representation does matter, but you're not, I don't think you're really the one that should be handling them, or there should be someone else with you in the writing room to like flesh it out a bit. But other than that, it's not a terrible episode. It's fine. And I know when Landry brought it up, it's great that they actually acknowledged the original creators of the Star Beast. They gave them recognition in the opening title. So that's good. That's what we need. But other than that, it's an okay episode, and it is the weakest of the specials.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I do like the Star Beast, but I think I like the other two specials more. I don't know if it's really a lot more, but yeah, between those three, I'll go Star Beast.
Landry?
Let's see. Remind me, we've got the Star Beast, the one with the doppelganger monster things, and
Wild
then
Blue Yonder.
the giggle.
And then
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I always felt like one of the things this season suffered from, the pacing of 3 of these didn't feel strong enough. Like we've got reintroduction, an adventure, and then the closure. There needed to be 2, like maybe 2 more in between for it to really feel balanced. This is a hard one for me because of, I mean, my first Doctor Who comic book right after I became a fan of Doctor Who was the comic book that Star Beast is based on. And I really enjoyed that. It meant a lot to me to see it translated, but they also added a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff they added is stuff that was convoluted and a little bit oddly represented, and could have been handled better with more skill, more care, more grace. But at the same time, I mean, I love the seeing Tennant and Tate together again. I was completely enraptured by it. We have an opposite problem that I have with some of the other stuff we talked about, which is I don't dislike any of these, but if I have to go with the one that is worst of the 3, it's probably this one. There's things I did not like about the giggle, mainly the bi-generation thing, but this does have more pacing issues. If we really get down to it on a basic structural level, it's just a little off.
Okay. You know, I'm going to have to go the giggle. The bi-generation bothers me a lot. I've accepted it. Again, I don't think any of these are bad. I really don't. But out of the ones that go ahead and have things that are like weighing it down, the bi-generation is definitely one factor. The second one is how it goes ahead and how it handles the toy maker. I like the performance a lot, and the him being brought in is fun, but there's just something in his existence coming right in is not sitting right with me. Oh, I've been here all along. And then they go ahead and it's not used, but that's something other episodes have to deal with. What else? This episode also has Unit, and Unit is fun to see sometimes, but they're there in the big building. And this is just after Power of the Doctor, where they were just there again. It's not special to me. It's really not. It's not this grand reveal that it wants it to be. And then one last key point is just that ending scene is fine, but they go ahead and write that Will is out dealing with moles. It would have just been better to right around that, just not mention him, just because if you don't have that, him shooting moles, and I don't think it's personally against his character to be shooting little moles. I don't, but it's just something I don't need. Whereas the Star Beast, a lot of strength. I do like the new Sonic. It does make it feel like, oh,
Of course you would. You have
of course
3
I
of
do.
them. Of course you would.
It's got more. It's got more I can do. It's fun.
Yeah, what you can do in one episode.
It doesn't matter. I can't, but I have it for that episode, and that's what makes it special.
I have to agree with Chris on this. It's like you introduce it, I want to see more of it, or why doesn't it get you out of problems that it would obviously help you out later?
15 should have kept it.
Like I just said with the line in the sand and myths and how it should be coming across, later episodes do not use it well. This episode is the pretty much the only exception, but I can't fault the giggle for that. It's just something that was bothering me in the back of my mind. But I think the Star Beast is just stronger in certain regards more than the giggle. And these are all great. And now it's time to talk about Empire of Death. Oh, I'm sorry, the 15th Doctor's worst episode. What is it, Chris?
Oh, well, funny you should mention that because it's the Empire of Death. It is a really bad finale. It is shockingly bad from Russell T Davies, of all people, to give a really bad finale. As like, yeah, sure, Legend of Ruby Sunday isn't any better, but that's the part 1. This is the resolution. Resolution to that part 1 and the resolution to the entire story arc. And it is really bad. What a waste of bringing back Sutek and how you deal with him. You put him on a leash and you drag him through the time vortex and just like, we're gonna undo death with death. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But then you cut the leash and you let him die in the time vortex again. And it's really bad. The whole resolution with Ruby, with finding out, oh yeah, her mom is just a normal person. It's like, that would be fine. I would be fine with Ruby's mom being a normal person. The problem is, both the show and the characters in the show made her out to be too important. And it doesn't answer the whole, why does it snow around Ruby?
Never got that.
It's literally just because Sutek placed importance upon her. That's why.
It's not even just Sutek.
But no, that is the key thing because he missed her face when the Doctor appeared. All those.
But why does he care? That's the thing.
Right.
Why does Sutek care about this one person that left her baby outside of a church? And then also again, her being named after Ruby Road because her mother was pointing at a sign that did not exist beforehand.
No, it's so stupid.
And also, I actually saw someone like tweet about this. It's apparently somewhat common for like some foundlings to be named after where they were left. So the whole pointing of the sign, it's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
it was still named Ruby regardless.
It's still
really
not
like that sign.
Episode. It's still not, I think, the worst episode.
You are not going to. You gotta be
bad. It's bad, but okay. I want to be clear. I do not think there's very many good episodes in this season. I think that most of it is pretty bad. I think that there's maybe 2 episodes worth watching, and the rest could all sit on a trash fire. And that last episode is absolutely on that trash fire. But that one with the babies is terrible. Come on, it is.
Yeah.
It's the bogey monster. Oh, God, no.
That isn't the episode you mean, though.
What?
That isn't the episode you mean is the worst one of this season, do you?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. They're all so bad.
I expected you to say 73 yards.
The fairy ring, the fairy ring's freaking terrible. I don't know where to start. This is one of the worst seasons of Doctor Who, and that says a lot. It didn't offend me the way Rosa did. but I mean, it's a bad season. But 2 phenomenal episodes, mind you. The one with those bird monsters in that kind of Downton Abbey or whatever Bridgerton kind of setting, great, loved that. And the one with Dot and Bubble, phenomenal. Those 2 episodes, some of my favorite in the last few years of Doctor Who. Easily loved them. Everything else was just a heaping trash fire. Was the finale the worst? Maybe. I don't know. I'm blinded by the badness of it all. Like, it's just terrible. It was a terrible freaking season.
Church, Devil's Core, Boom, Dot and Bubble, Rogue. I think Legend of Ruby Sunday was actually a fine episode. It's how they deliver it after. That's
can't
the thing.
Judge a story without judging its ending.
Yeah.
Legend is still bad.
I-
We were looking at the wrong acronym. Susan Technology is not an acronym of SUTech.
I
That's not
know.
how it works, Russell. Russell, you are a writer.
But yeah, no. No, I know.
Oh, so 73 yards, for me, I would say it's good until the end. The end is what ruins it for me.
It didn't go anywhere. Well, it was just dull.
I think the fact that it's kind of pointless because it reverts, and also the fact we get so many unanswered questions that it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Joe, what would be your pick?
Yeah, no, it's tough. Because so I think I also have to go Space Babies because
Really?
the Empire of Death is horrible. It's a horrible story, but at least it's like reset and then we can all move on with our lives. But like Space Babies wasn't reset. Space Babies happened. And we all had to watch it and we went through it and it's not retconned.
It still hurts.
It felt like whereas Empire of Death was like a horrible misfire, Space Babies genuinely felt like they didn't even know who they were even making this for anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue that they didn't deliver with Empire of Death, but I at least still felt like tonally in some different elements that they were at bare minimum aware of the audience that they were trying to reach. I did not feel that at all with Space Babies. I was embarrassed watching Space Babies. Like, if a friend of mine caught me watching that, like, I would rather they catch me watching Empire of Death than Space Babies.
I do think less of you for you knowing that you've seen it.
Sure. For sure.
Space Babies wasn't good, but thankfully they had Devil's Core right after, and that's a great episode. And so
Devil. You know what? I forgot Devil's Cord when I was counting good episodes. So 3 good episodes.
Yeah.
He said Dot and Bubble and Rogue as the other 2.
Yeah.
Dot and Bubble.
So I'll go 3.
What about Oh wait.
Boom.
Well, I guess no. Church of Ruby Sunday is technically special. I mean,
I didn't like the special.
That's a good episode.
With the freaking.
It's a fine episode. It's not the best Christmas
I didn't
one.
hate it.
It's a good. I didn't say the best. It's a good.
It's fine.
okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's it's not on my hate list.
So the 2 of us are Empire of Death. The 2 of you are Space Babies, and that is the end of our show.
Thank Christ.
You have our list. Leave yours below. We'll be back next week for something, and then we'll see you soon. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Farewell. Goodbye. Alonze. Don't you dare say it.
Alonzi.
Okay.